Hey guys, what is up? I am super excited today. I've got Tamara, and she's got this amazing brand called Raising a Mogul that teaches children and their parents how to actually enter the entrepreneur space. And boy, man, I wish my parents would have spotted that, I had the entrepreneurial spirit, and we would all probably be in better spots than we are right now. But Tamara, welcome. Now, I probably didn't do your intro. I probably didn't do your intro justice. So if you want to explain a little bit about what you do, how you even came up with this really cool idea.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited. So yes, Raising a Mogul is a visionary organization dedicated to empowering families and children with the tools and education they need to become successful entrepreneurs. The goal is to support them on their journey so they can make a positive impact on the world. There are so many kids out there that are not afraid to take risks like us as adults. And they're like, I want to save the baby animals. I want to do this. I want to feed the homeless or clothe little baby dogs, whatever their wild dreams are. I want to support them on their journey and also their parents as parent managers to help them make it happen. So Raising a Mogul started back in 2018 was when we really kicked off. It just started as a free Facebook community. My desire to connect with other parents and connect my children with other young moguls or their peers, because my daughter Xandra started a plant-based skincare brand when she was just 9 years old. And together we grew that as a family business. It's now our family business. We all work for Xandra. It took us, really honestly, it took us almost 10 years to get to where we are. So my goal when I work with other families is to help them do what we did in half the time or less. So my daughter became one of the youngest millionaires in America by the time she could drive. And we fought like heck to get there. It was not easy. Why? Because there was a lack of access, resources, information for parents like me who had this brilliant young person that had all this drive and this energy and these ideas. And I just was trying to figure out where to fit her, how to educate her, how to help her explore new opportunities and to position her. And so I couldn't find what I was looking for. So I created it.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you have a free Facebook group. So that's cool. So how do people find it on Facebook? Because right now people are listening and they're like, whoa, did she say free Facebook? How do I find that?
Yes, you can just type in Raising a Mogul anywhere in the interwebs, right into Facebook, and you will find the group. It is Raising a Mogul for kidpreneur and young mogul parents, and you'll be right in there.
That's awesome. So let's talk about that. Wow, your kid was one of the child millionaires. That is such a freak. So let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what are the signs that parents need to kind of look for? Like, what did your daughter like? What were the signs that you were like, my daughter is for real? She's not just talking. Like, yeah. How kind of explain to parents how you figured out like, okay, this is like a serious thing that's going somewhere.
Yeah, I was watching her. And I know, as parents, we have to watch our children anyways, but I watched her deeply really connect with, and she was just like committed to learning how to, it started as a very vain thing. She just wanted shiny lips. She was 9, so makeup was not a thing. It was not happening, but she was allowed to have lip gloss, like something with a little shine. So every day she was asking for it. And then her dad was like, you know what, you really need to figure out how to make your own. And so she was like, any other kid would have cried and did something else. She was like, bet, I got you. Let's do this. She spent the next 6 months looking up YouTube videos, just melting crayons, Vaseline in my microwave, ruining my kitchen and my pots, trying to figure it out. So while I was watching her, I was like, obviously this is something she really wants to do. How do I help her do this? Or maybe this could be a mommy-daughter experience. So I ordered a kit and we made lip balm one weekend together from this little kit we ordered off the internet. She gave one away at my father's church to one of the ladies. The lady gave her $1 and she was like, $1? I can make money doing this? And so on the way home, she was like, Mommy, I'm going to make more lip gloss, more lip balm so I can get more dollars next week. And I was like, you know what, Zan, I think you might want to start a business. And so that's what started it. It just came from out of her passion. So the parents that are out there, when you're watching your children, you're seeing what they're doing and where they're spending their time and what makes their eyes light up, lean into that, because that could be the thing that could, take your family to the next level or could take them to the next level. And if nothing else, it gives them this sense of confidence and pride. And it really makes them feel like we as their parents are leaning into something that they love to do. Because let's face it, the world is full of all these rules and this structure, and they're pretty much told how they should be and how they should behave, like at school, right? And everything else that's organized. Whereas for me, with my children, I really wanted to create this like environment where they could determine what success looks like for them by themselves, for themselves, and also be able to explore all of the things, not just one thing. I didn't want to parent them from what I thought was best, but I wanted them to decide what was best. And then I wanted to be able to support them and push them towards that, so that they could explore all the things.
That's so cool. And what I really love about this story is that you didn't just like tell your daughter, well, go read this book, like Think and Grow Rich, or like all of it's like you literally encouraged her to just go freaking do it. Yeah. And like what I love about kids is they haven't been pre-programmed to think about like what could go wrong.
Exactly.
They only see like the what could go right. Like she was like, oh, I can make money doing this. Like she didn't think like, and that's what, I just had an interview with Justin Breen, and he wrote 2 books called Epic Business, Epic Life. And he talks about the difference between business owners and entrepreneurs and visionaries. And that was like one of the things that he said that differentiates, business owners from entrepreneurs and visionaries, is that want to just like, no matter what, they're not thinking about what could go wrong. They're constantly thinking about like what could go right. And so what's the biggest mistake that you see, parents making when it comes to, pushing their child into, being an entrepreneur versus, the way that it just kind of organically happened with you and your daughter?
Yeah, I think you said it just now, Laurel, is pushing your child to become or to be. That's the thing. I mean, like adults, raise your hand if you felt like you were forced or pushed into being something or doing something that didn't make your heart happy, or you didn't feel like was in alignment. Of course, we didn't have the words. We just knew we didn't really like it, So I think the biggest mistake that parents make is assuming that your child is going to like or love everything you like or love. Assuming that your child cannot make a decision for themselves right now, today. Assuming that your child doesn't have the experience or the mindset to make a good decision for themselves and to communicate that to you. So I think if we as parents create this space where our kids can dream as wild as they want. I mean, if my son wants to be Batman at 3 or 4, you can be Batman. You can be anything. And like, that's the resilience. And that's the like wild visionary thinking that you're talking about. We need to lean into that and help them explore that. So the mistake is the limitations. I feel like we limit our children because either we don't have time, we don't know anybody else doing what it is that our kids want us to do with them or for them, right? So that becomes a whole nother thing, because it's like, the other parents are going to think I'm wild. Like, whereas if your child wants to be a swimmer or even an equestrian or a hockey player or even now like mountain climbing, all these extreme sports, skateboarding and stuff are popular. You can look at YouTube for that. But when it comes to building a business, that's a little bit like, that's for adults only. How, what do you think you're doing? Let him be a child. And it's like, this is how my child wants to be. So we have to kind of like loosen up a little bit and let our children lead us and be okay with that and just kind of be there to guide them and also create the opportunities for them. So to answer your question, I think one of the biggest mistakes is us not being understanding enough, creating a space for them to dream, and while we support them and forcing them to do things that we want them to do, as opposed to really understanding what they want to do.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And, I know that you have an event coming up, which is going to be amazing. And we'll talk a little bit about that here in the next couple of minutes. But if there's a parent right now that's listening and they're listening to you and the story about your daughter, and they're like, wow, like I'm going through a similar experience, what would be the first steps that you normally tell parents? Like, okay, you've identified that your child is, expressing an interest there. Maybe they haven't, created an idea or something. Like what are some of the first steps that parents should do in order to start their kid off in a successful way versus just kind of letting things go out of control?
Yeah. So I definitely think that if you have identified that your child is unique, is different, has a special set of skills, or is interested in exploring different things. I remember my son Josiah, a lot of my kids were very focused on what it is they want to do. Whereas Josiah, he was like, I don't know if I want to do jewelry or photography or this or paint pictures. Like, he's just my creative child. So what I did was I had a conversation. What types of things do you love to do? Let's make a list. It was almost like a wish list, right? Or for entrepreneurs, we call it like our hit list. Like, this is what we're about to attack next. So we did that as a family, so that everyone in the family knew what everyone was looking forward to or wanted to do, and we can support them and hold them accountable. And then I found free resources. So I suggest that you look in now where the internet is the internet. So you can find anything, specifically like on Facebook, Instagram. You can find communities like us, like at Raising a Mogul, so that you can tap into resources. Still, we haven't spent any money, parents, right? So this is exploration. This is having a conversation, creating a space for an opportunity for you and your child, your family, to explore these things that they want to do. And then so they can get more information. Because one of the other mistakes I see parents do is like, oh, my daughter wants to be a photographer. Let's go, pay for everything. Let's buy a camera and do all the things. It's like, no, maybe we should introduce her to a real photographer so she can hang out with the photographer, ask the photographer some questions. And maybe by the end of the weekend, she decides that that's not what she wants to do. Or she decides that's what she wants. That's the only thing she wants to do. So just those kind of opportunities for mentorship, research, gathering all the information, that whole ideation phase that we do as entrepreneurs, we should do with our children, so they can be sure. And a lot of times kids are not always going to be sure, so they're going to change their mind. So it's so much better that you don't invest a ton of money right away until you've, decided, like, what's the thing. I call it, like, when do we know the thing is actually going to be a thing? Like, when is this going to be a thing? And this is something that, okay, let's put our first $500 behind it. We'll loan you whatever for seed money so you can get materials, whatever that looks like. But we might have to do that a couple times, and it's okay. Because I know for firsthand that football, hockey, and soccer, those are not cheap extracurricular activities. So we need to change our mindset when it comes to investing in entrepreneurship and coaching, consulting, and support, mentorship for our children as well when it comes to business.
That's a really good point. So I would like to revisit that. So how do you know when it's time to go out of the ideation space and actually start investing some serious money into this child endeavor?
Yeah. So for me, and what I share with my community is, once you have proof of concept, people are raising their hand for whatever it is that your child is trying to do. The book is written, the talk is written, your child is getting the invite to come show up and do the thing that they do. And people are starting to take notice. And actually, really, even before that, if you're making, it's out there. Like, we put the work in, and now we've invested, even if you haven't invested a ton of money, you've invested a ton of time into bringing this product, service, idea into the world. Now you have to assess, do we have everything we need to get to the next level? And also, what is that next level for us as a family, for your child specifically? Also, what does that look like according to their idea, again, of success? So do you, as a parent, does auntie, uncle, grandma, whoever else is around and supporting your child and guiding your child, do they have the know-how to get them to the next level? And if the answer is no, then it's time to invest. The time to invest. And don't make the mistake I made, because I was working in corporate. I was doing small business consulting, and I thought I knew it all. And little did I know, I was messing things up left and right because I just didn't know the maker world. I didn't fully understand. So I literally had to get over myself and just hire Xandra a coach. And that's when I realized that I was like, wait a minute, it's been 6 months and we haven't grown. We haven't gone anywhere. I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't have time. I have 4 other kids. There was so many other things. Finally, I was like, it has to stop. She wants to get what she wants to get. I need to invest in someone that's far more advanced than she is, so that I can help her skip the line. So that's how you can tell if it's not working, if you feel in so much traction at every turn, if your child is not happy, y'all are arguing, and it's a good idea, but you're not getting anywhere, that's when it's time to invest. It's like, okay, we need someone to guide us through this.
That is so cool. Like just listening to your story is just, I'm just like, wow. Like to even like to even go through that, like even as an adult, like building a business, that's hard. Like were there moments where like, you know, because I know even just building a business as an adult, it's like it feels like a roller coaster just emotionally, and just like how did you guys like deal with that? Like did she have her ups and downs, or was it like all unicorns and rainbows?
The ups and downs were plentiful. So that's another skill I had to learn, how to be her mom, her mommy, her parent, and be her manager. Because not only was I also in the kitchen until we, you know, moved into, you know, we grew a manufacturing facility over the 10 years. But even when we were just at home mixing and making and learning together, because she couldn't do a lot of the things on her own, I also had to learn. There had to be some balance. Like she still had to do homework. You know, she still had to go to, you know, prom and all these other things. So I had to learn to back up, be her mom when she needed me to be her mom, and then schedule and think about the business when it was time to think about the business. So like I had to separate it. You know, I couldn't be at dinner with the family and be like, so I scheduled you an interview, and what do you think about this formula? Or what do you think about this or this store? Because it was just too confusing. It was too much for her. It got to be too much, but I was all over the place at first because I was like, every moment's a moment, let's get on it. But it didn't work out for our relationship as mom and daughter. So I had to separate it. We redid our schedule. So we had business times and days and moments, and the rest of it, we were just family. We were mommy, and she was my baby, you know? So that way, you know, when we were in the meeting, she's in charge. Even today, our team meeting, she is in charge. I'm like, I sit there and I listen, and then I interject my feelings. It wasn't like, no, I think you're going to, none of that. I didn't pull rank because I was her mom or I was older. So really, I had to develop a level of respect for my child as an entrepreneur, as she was growing, as she was coming into her own, so that I could then, you know, play my position as a COO of her company, and we could get along really well. But it was rough. It was rough. Right around 14, you know, I mean, puberty, girls, I mean, kids in general, but girls at 14, 13, 14, 15. And you're like, does this kid even like me? It was rough. And we were in business, traveling all over the country, Laurel, like speaking engagements. Like we're at like, you know, Facebook and Nike headquarters, and she was not speaking to me. I was like, and you do all, I can't take her into the bathroom. I can't fuss at her. It was a struggle, but we made it.
Man, now that you're talking about that, it kind of brings up a good question. Like, how did her friends feel about this? Were her friends very supportive, or were her friends like kind of not getting what she was trying to do?
It was a mix. She didn't really talk about it that much at school. And she was like, she did golf, she did basketball. So she, you know, did regular extra, I don't know if it's regular, but she did other things. However, she didn't talk about it that much because I think she just felt like they're not going to understand it. They don't get it. And when she did mention it, she's very like, I don't like to repeat myself. I said what I said. So she was even like that when she was like 11, like they asked too many questions. I don't have time for it. And I was like, okay, girl, do you know? So, but then as she started to become a local celebrity here in our hometown, things started to shift. So people started to recognize her at the mall, and she had to talk about it. I mean, even her first choice high school, when she got accepted, when she showed up to school, they had like a poster of her on the wall at her high school, and she almost died. She was like, this is not, no. Because she's like, I only want to be a regular kid here, you know? So it was we had some uncomfortable moments we had to work through. But for the most part, her friends, they loved it. They leaned into it. Once she, you know, she found her core crew in junior high school and went to high school and then to college together, until she decided college wasn't for her. She still has the same friends. So those friends have been able to be a part of everything. Like if she did Teen Vogue, they flew to LA with her. When she was on Netflix, they were on Netflix, like everything that, you know, so her, like cameras would come follow her around campus. So she found her hub, her friends that loved her for who she was, that was okay if she was only in town one day a month, and they see each other, they pick right back up, they come to the studio, they help. When she was out vending and standing at a table for hours, greeting people and selling her products, they would come and help with her, help her work. So she found her place. But I will say that, and for many of our children, it's almost like a dual experience, because you have your friends that are your peers that aren't in business. It's actually a triple, it's three pieces. So you have your friends that are your peers that are not in business, that support your business. Not everybody, but those that do. Then you have your friends that are your peers that are also celebrity children or out here killing it and doing things that you see at, in the green room on the talk show. Then you have, the adults, the other makers, the other entrepreneurs that are, where you want to be, or that are same where you are, but they're adults. So most of the time, Xandra, my daughter, spent probably 80% of her time in rooms where she was the youngest person in the room. So it's navigating those three pockets and those relationships, and me as her mom. It was definitely a challenge, but she's balanced it and she's handled it very well.
So it seems like you've got everything figured out. Like, this is cool, but this is good news for people who are watching this and, they want to get their kids involved. Their kids are already showing signs. And so you've put together a 4-day event that is literally going to give a lot of this stuff that it took you years to figure out over 4 days. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we have the Raising a Mogul Family Business Conference is coming this June 27th through the 30th. We're going to be in Disney Springs, Florida. So yes, it can be a whole family vacation experience. And it is going to be phenomenal. So we are bringing together families, young moguls, kidpreneurs, influencers from all over the country into one space. The cool thing about this conference, Laurel, is that it has never been done before. Us as entrepreneurs, we travel all the time. We're in all these rooms with all these important people. We're, listening to people speak, but there has never been anything like this where it's the parents, the family, and your children in one space, growing on the same level together, connecting with peers. The parents will connect with other parents, the kids will connect with each other, and they'll be able to either spark an idea you already have, kind of like light a fire to it, so like you can create a plan for it. Or if you already have your business started, it's like, okay, what's the next level? What does that look like for you? So we're bringing in some dynamic, amazing speakers, some really, the way I curated the event is I want to be able to, it's a no fluff experience. Let me just say that. So a lot of events, you come, and you're like, you feel like supercharged and you're excited and you're like, I'm so excited. You got a notebook full of stuff and you get home and you're like, now what? We're not doing that. So it's a workshop style experience. Yes, we have keynotes. We're going to be exploring, for the non-techie peeps out there, the world of AI and how to use that in your family business at home, with whether it's homeschooling, chores, or the business. We're going to be talking about your brand messaging, your visibility. We're going to have speakers that are going to talk to us about how they built 7-figure businesses with their children on their hip. Like, how do you build the brand and keep the lights on? These are real family concerns that these conversations aren't being had anywhere else. And we're also creating separate experiences for the young moguls individually. So we're going to have breakouts, sessions, and activities all day long, because again, it's a family experience. So there might be a 3-year-old running around in circles. That's okay. We have plenty of snacks. We have support, someone to chase your child around. No kid will get left behind or lost. But we're really tapping into all the things that the family needs, from the emotional, like we were just talking about that, like, how do we have these tough conversations? How do I, as a parent, get over myself and be able to support my child and respect that he or she might be the boss of me? In this case, they might have to win and I just have to take a back seat. How do you, develop your child's speaking business? When your child's starting to get booked and you're like, I don't know what to ask for. I feel uncomfortable. I'm not sure about this. Having those conversations is what I do. So we'll be able to walk you through those processes. We're also doing a really amazing VIP experience for day 4, which is the 30th. And we're setting up a family marketing lounge. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be a marketing lounge. So we'll do some pre-work before you come, but just imagine us, we're going to transform one of the rooms into a lounge where, say you have a product, you're going to go to the photography station and it has 3 pieces to it. You're going to learn how to take those photos of your product. So Tashanta's going to teach you how to take photos. She's going to take photos for you, and she's going to have you practice taking photos. So you're going to learn the nuances and the kind of rules around it. You're going to practice it, so you can implementation, and then we're going to do it professionally for you. And then when you leave, you have all your professional photos in a Google Drive folder for you. So we're going to do that with photography. We're going to do that with, we're going to have a copywriting station. So if you need, product descriptions written, you need your brand story written, your about page written, we'll do that for you. We're going to have a photo booth so you can do your headshots. But we're talking about with cell phones. So we're going to have a professional photographer there, but we're also going to teach you how to take these headshots with you and your children, your family at home. How do you pose? What does your background look like? So we're going to teach you how to do it on your own, let you practice, and then also do the photos for you. So we're doing everything from photos of your products, of yourself, video. We're going to record some content. And we're also going to do, we're going to have a station where we work with you, teach you how to use the AI to create your marketing plan and your visibility roadmaps. So you actually leave with content. And I know I'm forgetting something, but it's a whole.
Oh my God. Area. That is so, and yesterday when you told me the price of this, I was like, that's a pretty good price, but now I'm listening to you talk and I am just like blown away right now. Like guys, everyone probably right now is doing the math in their head. They're probably they're thinking photos, they're thinking marketing, they're thinking copywriting. They're like, oh my God, in my business, this costs X amount of money.
Yeah.
Tell them how much a ticket is because their mind's about to be blown.
Yes. For the 3-day experience, general tickets are $297. VIP is $497.
Oh.
Yeah. And you're probably like, why, Tamara? Because I want to make it affordable. I understand that families have multiple children, and I want this to be a full family experience. I don't want parents to have to decide, do I bring the 3 kids or just the one? Because we don't know what's going to be born at this experience. Even though your one child you're thinking that that's the kid that's going to be the entrepreneur. What if they all could be? And if none of them decide to do this beyond, whatever this time frame is, the hard skills, the soft skills, what they learn, the mindset shift is truly invaluable.
Oh man. And just think too, the return on investment, they bring a child, the child becomes a millionaire like your daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen,
I would have paid, I would have paid anything. And matter of fact, I was paying. I remember a weekend experience I did with Xandra, and it was $2,800 just for the weekend. For the weekend. I remember flying her to Atlanta, staying in a hotel just so we can it was more like a VIP, but it was a small group. So all of us entrepreneurs, we know a VIP weekend, right? That's what it was. It was 20. And I remember thinking, she's only 14. She's only 14. But I was like, if we're committed, we had just rebranded the company, but we needed to get, I was like, okay, there's more we need to get to. We need to understand how to do in order to get to the level where she wanted to be. And so I was like, I'm going to do it. And it changed the life of the business. It changed everything.
I'm just amazed right now. I'm just kind of makes me wish I had a kid. Yeah. So I'll ask you one more question because I think this is important too.
Okay.
It's how do you know if their child is ready to come to this event? What do they already have to have in place? Or is it just something that, if they're just kind of feeling this is a great way to test the waters?
I think both. This is absolutely a great way to test the waters. I feel like we can get closer to you as a parent, and your child can get closer to what it is you want to do when you're surrounded by other people considering the same thing. So I believe in surrounding ourselves with around successful people that are far more advanced than us, because that's how we're going to learn. But also our peers, other families that are actually considering this wild and crazy idea of your child being a kidpreneur or a millionaire at 12, 13, 14, that they get it. So even if you're like, this is something I want for my family, but I don't know where to start, the Raising a Mogul Family Business Conference is for you. If your child has already started and they're already getting booked, they're already selling, they have the website, and you're trying to get more sales or understanding how to do marketing differently or better, or where it doesn't consume your life and you forget to cook dinner, this conference is for you. So no matter where you are on the spectrum, you cannot go wrong by being in a room full of people that are your people. We want our children to be successful. We want them to get to the next level. We want to explore all these different opportunities and avenues and figure out where we fit. This conference is for you, because that's exactly what we'll be doing together. Saving time, saving the angst, working through it together. As I said before, this is truly an opportunity to skip the line.
Oh, so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tamara. I know that there's a parent listening right now. How do they get in touch with you again? One more time.
Yes, so you can find me anywhere on the internet, in the webs, at Raising a Mogul, or you can you can slide into my DMs. I love meeting new people and talking. How can we connect, collaborate? How can we get you to the conference? So yeah, or you can email admin@RaisingAMogul. Everything's at Raising a Mogul.
Yeah, and if any of you guys have any issues, just, reach out to me. Her and I are connected. I'll be more than happy to make an introduction to you. So thank you so much, Tamara.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. This was fun.
This was really fun. This was a really fun. This is a conversation that I don't typically have, but I think is like, I think there's so many parents out there that need to go to
Your
this.
audience is going to be like, look at Laura over there talking about the kids 2 times in a row.